Hi, this is Dan, and I'm talking to you from the Bike Layer, and that's bikelayer.com if you want to see this video instruction. Here's the funny thing. A lot of people have mysterious splats. They go out on a ride and they can't figure out why their tire splatted. They can't find thorns or anything. It turns out that it's the way they install the tire, especially on Presta valves, and the way they inflate the tire on a Presta valve can cause a lot of problems. And it'll inflate and it'll be okay for a few hours, and then all of a sudden, ka-chewy, you've got a flat. Well, let's start off by looking at this area right here. The biggest problem area is you have your valve cap, like so. And yes, you can, in this kind of a situation, you could do without them or with them. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have these caps. But one thing you can do without is this little darn lock ring. This is what you do with these lock rings. These lock rings cause more problems, more headaches than anything else. They're like so. This is what you do with them. Throw them away. Get rid of them. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to deflate your tire and move the valve inward, push it in, and then go around and check the bead and make sure that the rim strip is covering any kind of sharp holes, edges, valve holes, all that kind of stuff, all the way around. Check it on both sides. Then when you're all done, if nothing is exposed and you have the proper rim strip, make sure they're not rubber rim strips because those can be a nightmare. Get some nice cloth Valox rib strips like that. Believe me, they're worth their weight in gold. They're like around $4 or $5, and put them in properly. Next thing you do is you put your tire on. Next thing you do is you push the valve up into the rim. Don't pull it out like Grandpa used to teach you. Push it in. Then you proceed to inflate your tire. We're going to firm up the tire at first. Don't pump. Don't just sit there and crank it up to 100 or whatever is recommended on the tire. We're going to firm up the tire. Get it nice and firm with around 10, 15 pounds, just to get it firm. Then the next thing you're going to do, before you proceed just pumping away and exploding the tire, is take your tire, let's leave it on. Let's spin the tire here, and you'll notice that you want the bead, notice as it goes around, it dips down right there. Notice it dips down? That's okay. Now, if it ever dips up, if there's a little line, if it ever comes up this way, then stop what you're doing, deflate your tire, and massage the bead back down, like so.
Spin it again so we can see it.
Yeah, let's see that. Now here, notice right here it dips inward, right here. That's okay. You can have a tire dip in, but when a tire dips out, and I'm going to demonstrate, if a tire dips out like so, let's see. If you have a tire that does this and the bead is popping up above the rim line right here, then what you got to do is you got to press it back in, massage it in, and get it back down. Now, let's firm it up again.
And then I remember you saying that you can't really tell unless the tire's spinning, right?
Yeah, you got to really spin the tire. Don't just do a visual check. And I'm going to show you what a lot of people do. Some people. And what they do is they remove the tire like so, and they just look at it visually like this. Not good. And they go, oh, it's good enough. And it's not good enough. Spin it very slowly, and you'll actually see the tire dip in, dip out. Notice this one? And you can see right away if a tire dips outward, if the bead is seating. See, this one's pretty much seated pretty well already. Now, let's proceed with pumping the rest of the tire up to 100, and this one's like 120. And you'll hear some popping noises sometimes. Don't panic. That's because the bead is seating correctly on the rim.
And you say, you always want to pump it up to the max pressure that's listed on the tire.
Absolutely. Folks, that's why a bike is so important why do you want a soft ride? It makes no sense. You want a ride that's firm and that's very efficient. And if a tire can give you a maximum of 100 and 120. Go to 120. All right, this one takes 120, and you'll hear the beads popping. There you go, there's one. All right, so we're up to 120. Now, this is where you could, if you really insist, you got to have these little lock rings. This is where you could thread it on, just lightly, just for decorative looks or whatever your purpose may be, that you cannot live without these lock rings. Go ahead, thread it on lightly, and put on your valve cap. But actually, I would do without them, it's best. And then you put on your valve cap, like so. All right, let's go look over here. And let's see what happens at those lock rings, the problem those lock rings cause. These little darn things are a nuisance. What happens, this is the proper way. You push the valve up, you inflate the tire, and here's the rim hook. This is the rim, and here's the bead. You want the bead to be underneath the hook so it locks correctly. And so you push up the valve, the tire inflates, it push the tire down.
Sorry. Let me get this to your position.
I think this is too long.
Huh?
I think the video.
Cut it.
Okay. Start all over again with this. All right. Okay. Now these are the little lock rings that cause nothing but problems. Nothing but problems. And my suggestion is do not use these if you absolutely can at all costs. They have other purposes, which I will just talk about in another sequel of Bike Layer. Now what happens is, what you want to do is you want to push the valve up into the tire and let the air, what you want to do is you want to have this is the tire bead, and the tire bead is right here, and the rim hook is right here. You want these two to lock together. Now, if you use these lock rings, which is right here, a lot of people thread them down, and what it does, it pulls that tube down and it pulls it underneath the bead of the tire, like so. So when you inflate it, it literally will not allow the bead to lock on. See this? This is locked underneath. It will not allow it to go under, so it can't lock. So when you spin your rim after you inflate it, you're going to see a bump right at the area where your valve stem is, and that's where your problem is. So the first thing you got to do is get rid of that ring, push the valve up to allow that bead to go underneath, and get the tube from underneath the bead to go back up so you can do this. So remember, folks, what happens is it'll inflate properly for a few hours, and then suddenly this crease right here on the tube actually will burst, and you got that mysterious flat. Or the tire will literally pop off the rim, and you don't want that to happen. So don't use these lock rings. Anyway, this is Dan from Bike Layer, and if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can contact me at info@bikelayer.com, and that's BIKELAIR.com. So thank you again, and hope to see you soon. Check out my other videos. They're a lot of fun and very informative. Thank you.